This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the start of your sunrise safari. The sun is already up, and no, I'm not at the den. We're right outside our camp. There's 4 hyenas here from the Djuma clan, and they were all inside our camp earlier, smelling awful, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm slightly suspicious. I feel there may be another predator with a kill here. So what we are going to do is sit tight and see what these hyenas are up to. But buckle up, everyone. It's that time of day for your live safari through the African bush. Welcome aboard, everyone. We're looking at Mr. Swazi here. I know that many of you are fond of Swazi, as am I. Don't you come too close. You are not smelling delightful. Thank you. He listens to me. And Heart also listens to the sign. You see, Heart is sitting at the no entry sign because she knows she's not allowed to enter. They're smart animals, hyenas. Very smart. But anyway, my name is Lauren and I do have Seb on camera today. And this is our camp, so we have stopped right outside to see what's going on. I'm just a little bit suspicious that there's 4 hyenas. We've got Swazi, Heart, I think Ribbon, and off in the distance, I'm not too sure if it's Comet. I need a little bit of a better look, but something is going on here, that's for sure. So what a great start to the day. We're, of course, going to be coming to you from many different locations, and this location is Djuma Private Game Reserve. It's a beautiful morning. I'm so happy to see blue skies, golden light, hear the birds. It's the way I like to start my morning, put it that way. And it's 23 degrees Celsius and 73 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's toasty. And I can imagine it's only going to get toastier. But because this is your live safari, everyone, please do talk to us. It's very important. Send in your questions and your comments. The funnier, the better. You can use #WildEarth on Twitter, @FC on the YouTube chat. If you're under 18, kids, please do talk to us. It's very important. We prefer you, so please do email us. And the email address is kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. And there's another option, everyone. You can register on the Wild Earth website and you can head over to the live safari page and submit your questions there. Lots of different options for you. People love options. So I was heading to the den and, well, the clan is here. Swazi was everywhere this morning. He came to our rooms to see us all. He came to the kitchen. Yes, I don't think Swazi realizes he's a predator, and he's a hyena. A little bit confused, that one. But why are they here? Normally, when you see multiple hyenas like this, and they're not at the den, it normally means there's a kill. It could be a leopard with a kill nearby, for sure. So we'll spend a little bit of time with the hyenas, and then we'll start searching the area. Of course, it's so thick right now. The ground is very, very hard to see tracks. Well, to see leopard and lion tracks, because of course they have the digitate foot structure. It's very soft when they walk, and they have protractable claws, which means you won't see the claws. Whereas hyenas, you do see their tracks. Everywhere, in fact. Swazi, what are you after? Now, as you know, I am the biggest fan of hyenas, but I'm going to be very honest with you right now and tell you the smell is one of the worst smells I have smelt in a very long time. Wouldn't you agree, Seb?
Fully agree.
Seb said he fully agree. It's awful. I don't know what these hyenas have been doing, but they smell awful. Michael, you're saying they don't want anyone to pass. I know. We get lots of different roadblocks here, but this is my favourite, and you're right. They're protecting something. What are you guys hiding from us? We'll figure it out. But yes, Michael, you're right. And the fact that they're sitting next to that no entry sign is also rather hilarious. They're not going past it. I may be wrong. There may not be a predator with the kill, but it's definitely suspicious. Atul, you're saying Swazi's looking in prime condition. Absolutely. Yes. Seb was just checking which one is Swazi. Swazi is fed well. He's a very well-kept man. He heard that comment, Atul. Hi, Swazi. Good morning. You are owe us an apology. Is that your apology? As many of you will remember, we used to have a tent. We sometimes went live from the tent and it was filled with all sorts of skulls. We had skulls from all sorts of organisms. Well, we don't anymore. We don't have the tent. But the box of skulls, I think you all know what I'm going to say. Swazi found that box. And we don't have the skulls anymore. Yes. Is that you, Hart? I think it is. You all look very full. If only I could figure out what you had for breakfast. Now, I absolutely will pop into the den too, just to see if Intima's there. I got another look at the cub yesterday, and so heartwarming and lovely. Hyenas are terribly entertaining. Really, they make me laugh no end, especially Swazi. But Swazi's at dispersal age. I get asked about dispersal a lot within the males. And yes, most of them disperse. Swazi's at that age. We really could lose him to another clan at any point. If he chooses to go. He may, of course, choose to be in that 3% that don't go and stay within their NATO clan. Maybe the ladies don't interest him. Maybe he prefers food. Hello, Harticus. Heart doesn't smell so bad. Many of you are happy to see them all, especially Swazi, in such great condition. And you will remember that we darted Swazi. We had the wildlife vet come because he had wire. It could have been a wire picked up anywhere. It could have been a snare. It was a very strange wire just looped around his neck. And we had to get it off. Why? Because it came from humans. If humans were not present, it would not have been around his neck. So Swazi's been through a lot. He also lost his mum. He lost Pretty. And I've mapped out the clan for you. So a little bit later on in the drive, we're going to go through the clan. Some of you know the clan better than I do, but some of you are maybe new to the clan. So we'll go through it together a little bit later on. Now, Heart's walked away. She's walking straight towards Impala. We may hear them snort soon. So I'm going to investigate around here to see if there's anything I'm missing. And while I do that, we're going to send you across to Ngala to say good morning.
A warm welcome to our viewers here at Ambia Ngala, and it is starting to warm up now. You'll see we were able to find a few members of the Pride this morning, so it's just a couple of lions. You can see one is just like wedged in near that one quarry bush there, and then a few that's lying down right off to our left. So I'm Nikki here at Ambia Ngala. So I'm going to be your ranger for this morning, and on camera we have Owen. So to give you an idea, last night we were looking for lions. We looked pretty hard in some of the areas nearby. And as we were coming back late last night after the show, we managed to find these lions. However, they weren't in the same area, of course, this morning, and they started moving. And they, probably because of the wind blowing from where they are towards us, so almost from a western easterly direction, as they started moving into the wind to possibly look out for any hunting opportunity. It doesn't look like they've been successful, just based on like their stomachs, and also the ones that are lying off to the left. Doesn't look like they had anything to eat. If they caught something, it might have been very small. Look at this one's just sitting up, pricking the ears into that direction to probably listen out for any potential moves. You can see something caught her attention. Let's have a look. I reckon if she gets up, it might not be too long before the others would get up and have a look. But something has definitely caught her attention. Oh, that's another lion coming. Looks like it might be one of the youngsters. Scott, so this is part of the Birmingham Pride. So a little while ago, the Pride started breaking up where a few, especially the ones with the two white ones, have moved more to the eastern side of Ngala. And moved into the Greater Kruger National Park area. But the ones that we're seeing here at this very moment as part of that pride is just a few of the members that have been around the river. Especially there's a few of the other females that are dating at the moment, one or two of them. And that might be why these ones are still in the area. It's also probably more beneficial. I mean, when the pride was all together, there were 18 lions. And so whenever they made a kill, some of the members didn't even get a bite. So it might be that they've now just split up to make it a bit easier. So there's more food whenever they do hunt. It's strange that this one is lying off to the side because all the others have picked up their head and now looking towards that one. And it's strange that that one didn't come all the way back to the pride here. And just counting here, it looks like there's 7 lions. It might be that the rest of the pride, the rest of the Birmingham Pride, could be somewhere at the back there, and we just haven't seen them yet. Because I see this one lioness has just gotten up now, probably going to investigate. The lighting is really, really beautiful, I agree. I'm looking at this female here. If we can move closer, Owen, like to her belly, I just want to see if she's possibly lactating this one. Could be the mother that has 3 young cubs at the moment. But let's see. Looks like they might just go and have a bit of a greeting. We're just quickly wiping the lens. For all the, like there's a bit of mist this morning. I just love it when lions have that like a bit of a meet up, or when they greet each other, and often it's just re-establishing that social bond. You'll see all of them getting up, and eventually after smelling the other one, probably rubbing their face against it, like all of them just relax again. And I'll probably go and lie down in a bit of cover. It is warming up, you can see the sunlight on them. that's one of the ways that lions do recognize one another is through smell. And just look at this female at the back, how she's scent marking. What they normally do is they urinate on the ground and then they rub those back, like their back feet through it. And so as they move, they leave that scent trail, which is invisible to us. But of course, other lions that move into this area can definitely smell it and know that this is the area or the territory of this particular pride. Stacey, they do look very relaxed at the moment, but have a look at this lioness off to the right and just notice how muscular she is. You'll see around her shoulders, you can even see like from her neck just to her back right, look at those muscles, and then along the side of her body, and then of course towards the rump. She is a really strong female. And I can imagine if this pride had to move, she'll probably be the one that's leading the hunt. Gracie, with lions, both the males and the females are territorial. So territorial is mainly for reproduction purposes. So you find that both the males and the females in this case are territorial with lions. So the males would of course roar and scent mark, and that's their way of establishing and telling the other lions not to move into the area. But the females will also do that. The females will also scent mark, and they would also roar. And it's interesting to see when a pride, let's say a pride as big as this Birmingham pride, when all the members are together, if you had to sit with another pride of lions and all of a sudden you start hearing all these females roaring, the other lions, let's say if there's a smaller pride, will hear that and then will move out of the area. So both males and females are territorial. You might find in this case that the dominant males might stretch over one or two or three different prides. However, the females will keep a certain area. And if any of the other prides, or let's say the females, want to move in, of course they'll either fight or these ones will just chase them out of the area. How beautiful is that color on this one's face? The white around like the edges of the eyes, and then that beautiful yellow eyes. So 50, they do look very healthy. I must say, from the lions that I have seen in Angola, let's say over the last month, I reckon this pride is probably the ones that are in the best condition, especially the youngsters. So have a look at these two youngsters that are, or this one sitting down right in front of this female. And normally youngsters, like when it comes to, just have a look here. This is really interesting. Let's just watch this and I'll tell you what I think might happen here. So if you notice that female, do you see how she wrinkled her nose? Look at she's smelling now. She might just do this again. So have a look, she's smelling, and she might pick up her face again, wrinkle her nose and pick up her lips. And I'll tell you what that is. Let's just have a look first. So what that is called a phlegm grinness. And basically by doing that, if a lion smells, so let's say if another lion urinates and they smell that, they can basically, it tells a lot of that lion. Like, let's say if females urinate and a male smell, it can tell that male, is she an estrus, is she ready to mate, like, it can give, it basically can give them a lot of information about her. You can see the little one at the back's also now smelt. And by pulling that through the nose, there's an organ called the Jacobin's organ, and that scent runs through that in order to give them that detail. Look at that. And so with that female doing that, maybe the youngster was a bit interested, and so that's why she immediately moved and started rubbing up against that lioness. But this one here that we're looking at is the young male. Early on it was, I think, the young female, if I'm not mistaken, that was with that other lioness. If you look at the very end of his tail, you see that tuft of black hair. Now, when this youngster was really small, it looked like at the end of his tail, all the hair was missing. And it's incredible over the last few months how that tail has recovered. And now, he has quite a big tassel at the end of his tail.
Imagine having your own secluded African bush home where you and your friends can enjoy the ultimate safari experience. If you sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, this could become a reality. Tumbeta House is located in the heart of Djuma Private Game Reserve, the home of Wild Earth. You could win a chance to stay at this intimate wilderness retreat, offering you the rare and highly sought-after privilege of your own home in the bush. The prize includes 3 nights for 6 people and includes daily game drives, a chance to see the Wild Earth Camp, and have dinner with one of our guides. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer before the end of February 2021 and you could be heading to Djuma, the place that we call home. Available dates are limited, so terms and conditions apply.
Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for Wild Earth. I have been living for the past decade here in the Sabi Sands, and that has allowed me an intimate connection with this place and a better understanding of how it works. For me, the questions that make me think and lead to answers that all of us learn from is what really drives me. Catch up with me on Wild Earth.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at and Beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on Wild Earth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Now, they haven't moved too much. The one off to the right looks like a younger female. She came closer to the rest of the pride, and the one bigger lioness was actually snarling at her. Now, maybe she wasn't part of this initial group and now she's trying to join up again. Or, I don't know if the rest of the pride could be somewhere here, but it was very strange behavior. And I'd like to, if we spend a bit more time to try and figure out exactly why that happened. And if maybe she was... Now, let's see, have a look now. And we'll listen. Yeah, it's very strange. Like earlier on, she was snarling at her, but now it seems to me she's not. She's still looking at her, though. And the rest of them, all huddled together here in the sun, are looking at that female that just moved. They get all their little heads together. And hopefully by spending some time here, we'll be able to see if they do get up and eventually start moving into a bit of shade. But I don't think these lions are going to be heading anywhere too soon. Like, it is warming up. I think today's going to be quite a warm day. Just looking at there's barely any cloud cover. I can already feel it starting to warm up. So might not be too long before all of them, like that young female, decide to go into the shade and settle down for the day. And as lions, can be pretty lazy animals. So sometimes they'll sleep up to 20 hours a day. And just rest up until late this afternoon when it cools down, early this evening, and start moving again, possibly continuing their search for any hunting opportunity. Jerome, at the moment, they're probably the pride that would take up most of this, the majority of the area of Angala. From all the prides around, they are probably the biggest and the strongest pride. So I would say definitely the strongest from all the prides. And to give you an idea, so at any given point in time, there could be as many as 3 or 4 different prides of lions on Angala. Do you see that interesting behavior, how that lioness basically went for that younger one? It's very interesting. It's like I'm almost wondering why is that happening, especially because that younger female is part of the pride. And the youngsters got such a fright they started running in the opposite direction. Bruce, those youngsters there, they were born last year around March, April. So close to 10 months now. And you can see by their size, they're still very young. And it's only like for that young male, he hasn't even shown any signs of a mane yet. That will probably only start happening from 1.5 years. And only when he gets to around about 6.5 years is when he'll have a fully developed mane. So it's quite a few years from now. But you can see this one lioness is feeling a little bit irritated this morning. I'm just going to lead out of the way. Stacey, there's, like, at the moment, like, from what we can see, there's only 2 prides that I know of that would probably be on Ngala at the moment. So it's this Birmingham Pride, and then the Breakaway Pride, which was initially part of this whole pride before they started separating. And the pride got so big at a stage that whenever they made a kill on a zebra or wildebeest, some of the members didn't even get any food. And so what happened is they started breaking up because it was more beneficial, because the smaller group they were, if they made a kill, at least there was some food for some of the members. Now, I don't know if they smelled something or heard something. It looks like these ones are walking around. Could just be because of the shade. I'm going to lean out of the way. My head's in the way there. They're right in front of us. Let's see where they settle down. Could be that they settle down there, and eventually the rest of the pride will join them. Now, looks like that lioness might settle down there. She's just turned around. I just want to have a look at these youngsters again. That's off to our left. Oh, the one just fell down, but it looked like the young male and female were playing with one another. I can just see the white on the one's leg as it turned onto its back. What's really interesting though is like when, especially the youngsters get to this age, they're still very playful. And if you look at their condition, they are in a good condition, so it doesn't look like they're too skinny, so they don't need really to conserve any energy. So often, early in the morning and later afternoon, they use this opportunity just to have a bit of a play with one another. Let's have a look now. The one lioness got up again, the youngster. It seems to me every time she moves closer, the other ones lower their head. And this one in particular, like for those that have been following the Birmingham Pride for quite a while, so for all the viewers that maybe don't know too much about the Birmingham Pride, they are the ones with the 2 white lines in them. Now this one here, if I'm not mistaken, is possibly the sister of the young white lioness. And she was, prior to these other cubs born, the youngest within the pride. Be interesting to see where the rest of the pride would be and why, like my biggest question, why would they almost like start pushing her out, especially if she's still so young. I almost expect if she was a young male, maybe that could have been a reason for it, but being young female, it's very interesting behavior. I'd like to know from some of our viewers, or even if there's other rangers that are tuning in, what their thought would be on it. Be interesting to know. Katie, it depends. A pride could be anywhere from 3 lions, I mean, all the way up to possibly 32, 34 lions. There could be more, but often you don't really get more than that, because what happens then is it all becomes, like, the competition becomes way too much within the pride. And I do know in Botswana there used to be a pride called the Savuti Pride, and it still might be an active pride, but this pride specialized in hunting young elephants, and they were a pride of 34. But during certain times of the year, sometimes they will split up. Might be that they're just going to join this one female that's now moved into some cover. You can still see a little bit of her just right of where we're looking now. You know what we can try and do is I can see some of them are moving way beyond the tree now. Is let's just try and or just move around and see if we can get another view of these lines. But in the meantime, let's head across to Carl in Tswalu.
Well, welcome to Tswalu. Good morning. My name is Carl. Behind camera is Morgan. And we are busy rolling through the dunes going out west. And what we are looking for this morning is because we have a lot of cloud cover at this point in time. I'm really hoping that we can find a battered fox or a Cape fox resting or residing at the Burra entrance. And this is why we are driving very slowly through the beautiful dunes out west. And we are looking for the smaller things, the smaller mammals. Here's our POA for this morning. Obviously with cooler conditions, as soon as there's a bit of warmth, animals will seek that warmth. So they will actually emerge from the burrow, reside out the burrow entrance, and absorb a little bit of warmth. And that's hopefully what we can catch this morning. The light illuminating the very far northwestern corner there. You can see the clouds rolling in very quickly. And then in between the dunes is a host of different plant species and as well as birds, so we definitely got our work cut out for us this morning. But it's just magical moving over these undulated geological features. Beautiful. This little southern masked weaver. All the nests there on the left hand side. You can see the male there on the top of screen. There's 2. There's 3. That's the shrilling noise that you folks can hear. Ooh. A bit of aggression, just like we were watching yesterday with the corn crickets. Sure. Myself and Morgan were astounded by the determination of that very large ground katydid yesterday. He was not taking any nonsense. Came in and dominated that meal. It's always lovely to watch these birds build their nest. And they have got skills like no other. There's the beautiful humble abodes that he's created, along with other males. And a very fine structure at that. You can see the need for thorns. The thorns coming off the branch at a very straight angle. That is basically the anchoring point for this woven little nest. And it's absolutely astounding to watch this bird build these nests. So previously I've watched males that give or take 2-3 days, depending on where they're collecting the material from as well. But at Motsi, the one lodge here at Tswalu, I've sat with guests had breakfast with him, and we have started, the bird has started the process while we were busy with breakfast. And we said to ourselves, we are going to see how long it takes him to finish that nest. And when we sat down for high tea, the same day, that bird, that male, was done. So the rate at which these birds build these nests depends on obviously where the male is collecting the material from. So anywhere between a day to about 3. Oh, here it looks like some... Oh. I think that was a social weaver. I think you had the wrong nest, buddy. There was nest material within that bird's beak. There is a sociable weaver nest here just to the right of us on the dune crest. See the newer nest here, the greenish tinged one. But a lovely way to say good morning. And from that, let's send you over to someone else to say good morning as well.
A very good morning from Anbion Pinna Private Game Reserve. We were on our way to some cheetah, but there's these 5 sub-adult lions that have come out and have actually disturbed what I think where the cheetahs were. I think we'll go and look for them a little bit later. But these are 5 young members of Pride that stays in the southern area of the reserve. Welcome to Anbion Pinna Private Game Reserve. My name is Dewald, and behind the camera we've got Simon, and we're going to stick with these lions for now and see where they're going. I think the fact that they are moving around so much, all these youngsters, and just moving around in the thicket, and they're not really walking in a certain direction. I think their mothers have left them here and has possibly gone out to hunt or so. You can see the ones there in the bush, they're like smelling the ground or something there. Oh, there's a female right there next to it. Probably should look through my binoculars and I'll see that, right? Actually seems like they are eating some grass. Maybe they've got some upset stomachs, trying to settle their stomachs with by eating the grass there. Yeah, they're coming out into the open. That is awesome. Still nice and cool here. Got a bit of cloud cover also, so these lions are a little bit active, not just lying down and sleeping there. The lioness is coming out. Look how big she is. She's just standing and listening. Did see some impalas as we were approaching the sighting to the left-hand side of where she's listening to. But impalas might be a little bit quick for her. These youngsters seem like they're getting a little bit playful now. A lot of like staring and ears on each other or so. So these 5 youngsters that's around us here, we know that it's 2 lionesses that had cubs together. So there might be another lioness here somewhere. Karen, you're asking at what age cats are not sub-adults anymore. I guess it would be the moment the females go into their first estrus, so go into heat for the first time, then they've reached adulthood. Or I would say with lions, it's probably around like 3.5 years or so. From then, they are pretty much grown up and hunting by themselves or so. So I think the moment that they are also not reliant on their mothers for food anymore, then they are not seen as sub-adults anymore. So we call these cubs sub-adults. They might still be a little bit young, as we saw them in March last year for the first time. So they're just under about a year old. But we call them sub-adults because there is 4 tiny other cubs that's part of this pride. So it's just for us to distinguish between the cubs, call some of them sub-adults and some of them just cubs. There's actually, look at this one coming closer. I don't know if you can see just the way it's listening. Just going to keep quiet for a moment, see what it does. Might be another cub just around the corner here. That's what they're doing. There's a warthog burrow behind us. And I think these cubs are checking inside the warthog burrow. I'm going to just wait a moment. Just give us a moment for these youngsters to move off. Okay, I'm going to turn around before the others come. And then we see if we can get a view of these cubs digging in the warthog burrow here. I wonder if there's some warthogs in this burrow. I actually saw warthogs digging in this burrow earlier, about 2 or 3 days ago. There we go. I'm just going to stop like this. And we're standing right next to the burrow. And it looks like the rest of the cubs are actually coming in this direction as well, or sub-adults. Look at all of them listening down there. Wonder if they can maybe hear some rustling or something down at the bottom there. There might well be a warthog down there, or it could just be the smell that's maybe attracting them there. Because if these lions were lying here the whole morning, you might find that the warthog maybe popped its head out, saw the lions and then ran back in there. So you're asking if this is the Bayala Pride? It is not. So in the southern part of the reserve, there's mountains that cut the area in half, and on the western area of those mountains, the Labombo Mountains that come through Penea, that is the territory of the Bayala Pride. These youngsters and this female is part of the Mountain Pride, which are on the opposite side of the mountains. Those mountains are basically the edge of the territories. They've started to lose interest with this warthog burrow. Seems like they're all starting to settle down a bit. So for now, we are going to send you over to Steve.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome over to Buffelshoek in the north. Welcome to a stick insect who graced my leg with its presence this morning. Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Fogman, joined by Davisito on camera, and we are very excited to bring you on board and welcome you once again up to the north of Buffelshoek, where the stick insect, I'm not sure where he attached himself to my leg, but we stopped up here in the north on Kaamanzi Dam Wall. Kaamanzi basically means house of water, and many people look at the watering hole to our right-hand side and think it looks quite similar to that of Lake Kariba. If you've never been to Lake Kariba, it looks something like this. Normally a healthy pod of hippos in this water, but I think it is filled up quite a bit, that it's made it quite deep. So I haven't seen any hippos in this yet, but last night we were in the watering hole just north of this one called Big Dam. Bird flying. You had a bird flying? I did. You had a bird flying. Oh, that's great, David. Do you any idea what bird it was flying? It was black. It was a blackbird flying. Okay. So the hippos seem to, when these watering holes change in size and in water consistency and depth, the territory changes. And so obviously hippos with the inability to really swim have to move somewhere more appropriate. So you'll find them in places that they might not have been before. And we saw a few of them in Big Dam last night. Chitwa only had a few, so maybe some of the sort of smaller watering holes that have not seen much hippo activity in the past are now new territories and worth competing for. And this amount of rain is going to be really good for the season coming forward. There is no drought on this horizon, everybody. The birds will breed again. The grass is in abundance, the water is in abundance, and as we all know, water is the currency of life. It always amazes me, the rejuvenation and regeneration of these vegetation areas and how quickly they can turn from absolute desolation to abundantly verdant greens.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature. Have you been watching Wild Earth and dreamt of being right there on safari with one of the guides? Well, now you can. Wild Earth is offering you a chance to buy a ticket to dream. You or a friend can hop on board a live Wild Earth show and join our guide on safari. The ticket is redeemable at any of our locations, anytime in the future. Only a limited number of tickets are available, so don't wait. Get your ticket now and start dreaming. Terms and conditions apply. In a world full of upheaval, we all need a quiet and safe space to breathe. A place where anxiety and stress don't exist. A place where life carries on as normal. Escape to nature with Wild Earth.
My favorite animal is a leopard, purely because I just think they are just the epitome of feline grace and power, and the way they can move about in any environment and remain hidden until they want to be seen, I just find incredibly intoxicating, and they're amazingly beautiful.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
One of the best coloured birds in the bush, as far as I'm concerned. Terrible name, though. We have the brown-headed parrot. Now, if I was in charge of naming this bird, I would have called it something to do with that fabulous green colour. Look at it. They're actually always in this area. You can hear the starlings. The starlings are not happy with something. But the brown-headed parrots, there's 2 here. And I don't know why someone focused on their brown head rather than their strikingly beautiful, luminous green. But anyway, that's by and by. And they are said to be monogamous, so we could be looking at the male and female here, but it's very difficult to tell. They're very alike. The male is bigger, marginally, but you would have to see them standing right next to each other to pinpoint which one was larger. Now, they nest in natural tree cavities. So I wonder if this old knobthorn here is where they nest, and that's why they're always found in this area. And just an update, the hyena den was not active, but it's very late. It's late in the day, and it's already very hot by the time we go out. So I personally don't think the mornings are going to be very fruitful for the hyena den these days. I think it's going to be the afternoon. The hyenas that we did have just got up and wandered off into the thicket. We can't off-road. There's also lots of properties that we can't traverse right now. Just as an update, the storm that we had the other night affected a lot of our masts. So we're still working on it, but our traverse is slightly limited. But these birds are just incredible. They just eat fruits. The fructivores. They love figs. But you will find them snacking on seeds and nectar, kernels, anything that they can find. But they love their fruits, that's for sure. Ah, they're both down in the fork now. Now, they're actually said, they're a resident, they're not migratory birds, but they are actually said to be quite uncommon, believe it or not. So the fact that we always see them here, we're lucky. Sometimes we find them in camp as well. Starlings are particularly noisy. Jane, you're saying it's always a treat to see parrots. Absolutely. It's really not common for us. When I was staying in Joburg recently, we had parrots in our garden, and I'm still not sure what species we had, and unfortunately I didn't have my camera. I would love to be able to find out. It looked like a Lillian's lovebird, but I don't know if it can be because their distribution is definitely not Johannesburg. So I'm still confused as to what parrot we had in our garden in Joburg. If any of you are parrot experts, please let us know. Green is my favourite colour, all shades of green, from lime green to khaki green to pale green, apple green. I love green, and I think that's why I'm so attracted to these birds. Tom, you're 7 years old, and yes, I guess they can bite. They have a very sharp beak. You see that beak? Oh, they disappeared. It's very sharp. But the actual sort of chances of them biting us is very low. Unless they decide to land on you and bite your nose, which is most likely not going to happen. But yes, they can bite. It's a very, very sharp, powerful beak. I don't know if any of you have ever had a budgie. It's quite similar. They can nip you. It's not pleasant. Okay, what a wonderful sighting. We're going to head back to the quarantine area. And while I do that, we're going to send you guys to Ngala with their Ngala.
So the rest of these Pride members have actually now moved closer to that one young female. I see the one that's now getting up. She's one of the adults, but see off to the right there's a tail flicking in the grass. So that's the youngest female, and both those lions, the two adults, have moved closer and started snarling at her again. You can see the one still looking at her. This might be the mum of those two youngsters off to the left there, but let's see what happens. I mean, you can just see the other one off to the right has made herself so flat to try and avoid any confrontation with the other ones. Okay, the other female's just gotten up now and moved back to the shade. So that's the one there. So it's very strange that both the older females, not the youngsters, but the older ones, is almost trying to push her out of the pride. Or this little group that's here, because the rest of the pride, I mean, we haven't seen them for maybe a week and a half now. And hopefully, at some point in time, the whole pride will join back together. But who knows, maybe this could be just the start of this pride actually splitting up again. And these ones will form a pride that will stick into the central part of Ngala, where the other ones will more form like towards the eastern side. So the rest of the pride with the two white lines in it will more go to our eastern side. But it's only probably in the next month or two we'll probably know a little bit more, because it just seems like more and more often we find these ones by themselves and not with the rest of the pride. Now the rest of them have now moved into the shade, and I think what we'll do is we'll still spend some time here, see what's going to happen with that young female if she moves closer. But then after that, if they all decide to come and lie down in the shade, we'll probably move on. Because it's warming up, we'll try and look out for some elephants, maybe some buffalo.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got some very interesting tracks on the floor that I wanted to show you. I was going to get out and show you, but we've now suddenly got some animals walking past us in front. I don't want to unnecessarily chase this little family of waterbuck. So as we watch them walk past, I'll get ready to show you this track. Why are you running, fellows, ladies? I wonder if they've seen something. It's very possible. I don't think a lot of people say waterbuck have got a very bad smell, and that's to stop lions from hunting them. That's not the case. I've seen lions eating two at a time. You can maybe hear the Swanson spur fowls They are very vociferous these mornings. They're very loud. Wonderful area. So nice to be exploring these new parts. We're on our way up towards the second big watering hole that we did a nice silent moment at last night, and just want to check that area and the boundary with Manuleti and the Kruger to see if maybe there's any activity of anything that might have come in. There's not many vehicles around at the moment, so there's potential to have absolutely anything up in the north here, including some cheetah. There was some wild dog activity in the north a couple of days ago when we weren't able to get up here, and so maybe Dave's feeling a little bit of a wild dog churning in the tummy today, aren't you, Davizito? Waterbuck are extremely elegant, aren't they? Now, the sun has come out, obviously, on this lovely sunny day, and I always feel for the waterbuck with their shaggy coats and wonder to myself, how on earth do they stay cool? It's very warm for the most part, just wearing very thin fur. Imagine a thick coat like that. Something has spooked these ladies, and if it wasn't me, as I haven't been out the vehicle yet. I'm being very cautious and staying directly in range and making it impossible for me to show you this track because, well, I don't want to scare them, everybody. They will react if I get out of the car. It's a no-brainer. They're already a little bit jittery. Poor things. A little bit jittery. So we can show you the track on the floor over here. We can do it without me having to get out the car. You'll see that there's a drag mark, and some people will think, ooh, drag mark, very good. Now, drag marks are things we look for all the time, but as Dave follows that drag mark and keeps going up, you'll notice something on the right-hand side right now, just there on the right. Can you see that big track? There we go. Can you see that? It's a big foot with 4 toes. That is the footprint of a hippopotamus, and the drag mark is indeed his nostrils and nose hairs as he's walking around, feeding or looking for food. That was him coming back, or her coming back to the watering hole. The watering hole is just to our northern side. I said where the hippos are. So I can show you now. They've moved off a bit. Okay, so let's have a look-see over here. Here's the track on the hippo. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's another one, and here's the nose. And if you've ever seen a hippo's nose, they've got these long bristles on the front of the face, and that is exactly what we're seeing now. So he walked through it, even brought a little bit of vegetation stuck on the bottom of its foot from over there. And that vegetation has been squashed. So wonderful track. And you can actually see it because the nose is gone and then the back foot has stepped on top of it. Okay, so this is something we look for because this kind of mark is often what we look for with drag marks of the hyena, lion, leopard mainly. But you'll find then a leopard track over there. Possibly, sometimes not. Sometimes you find the leopard tracks on the side here as the animal tries to move with this animal dragging. But a very nice drag mark to see and a very nice track and sign in the bush, something that we are always looking for. Okay, let's get back on the car, move, go up towards Big Dam. Let's go see around the corner here what's given these waterbuck a little bit of a hard time. I'm not getting comms, Darby. Are you getting comms? Okay, so we're going to carry on here, and we're going to be sending you over to someone, somewhere, with something, no doubt. Very interesting.
These youngsters were quite playful and running around all over. And they've all come and settled down in the road ahead of us here. The other lioness also came out, and both the lionesses are lying off to the right-hand side, sleeping in the long grass there. And here you can see all 5 youngsters all next to each other. Quite a bit of grooming and scratching happening. Oh, that one's just spotted something. And quite a bit of yawning. You can see the one that just got up now is quite a bit smaller when you look at its head or so. So it's a young female that's gotten up there. Just looking below her tail, can't see anything there, so it's a female. Oh, quite a lot of yawning happening. These youngsters, I think they're slowly getting tired from walking maybe last night. Look at this one rolling around here closest to us. Trevor, you're asking why lions are always lying on the road. I think it has to do with just in the grass there's quite a lot of times there's quite a bit of insects and so that's biting them. It's nice and open. You might find when it's really hot they might go and lie in the grass or so in nice shaded areas, but while it's nice and cool like this, out in the open, not a lot of grass around them. And I don't know if we'll be able to show you, but there is so much dew on the grass at the moment. It is super wet, and that is why these lions are avoiding going into the grass. Just like many other big cats, and other cat species, they prefer not getting wet. So the long grass is and the grass is very wet at the moment. Although they are moving through, just like walking around and stuff. You can see the youngster walking off to the right there. But I think most of these youngsters are lying in the road because of it being so wet. You can see the black behind the ears where they're listening to. Maybe they can see, they've got a bit of a vantage point. Maybe they can see one or two things on the other side there. Safari Kids here are saying best roadblock ever. Indeed, and we are, funny enough, not even 5 minutes away from Anbjornpinne Mountain Lodge, so just around the corner from the lodge, and these lions just rocked up here this morning. A young male looking at us here in the back and giving a bit of a yawn there. You can almost see like a little bit of a crest of hair on the back of his neck there starting to form. Maybe the first few bits of a mane starting to grow. But for now, while these lions are starting to settle down, I think we'll keep an eye on them. Then we'll send you over to Tswalu.
well, scouting the dunes for bat-eared fox or Cape fox with these nice, cool prevailing conditions is what we wanted. And what I was hoping for is that they would have been out, maybe even foraged for a bit longer. But we have found something else just as exciting. Look at this tiny and beautiful insect. Lovely to see. And sitting still on a very windy piece of grass, but very beautiful nonetheless. So what we can utilize is the way that the wings are held. Also, you can see they are transparent, but they have a fairly large amount of veins and fairly lot of veins and network of them on the wings. You can see the abdomen straight through the wings. That's how transparent they are. You can see the tiny little beady eyes on the left-hand side of this insect. And then the most distinguishing characteristic is if you look at the end of the antennae. So if you look at the top of the head, you can see those two little projections coming up there. You can see the end of the antenna are actually bulbous or clubbed, as they would refer to as. So we looked at lacewing eggs a few days ago, and lacewings and antlions fall into the same group. And if you look at the distinguishing factor between the two of them, lacewings will have straight, thin antennae, as in where these beautiful insects, antlions, have clubbed antennae. And you can see from that little projection, that little bulbous section, that this is definitely an antlion. Very beautiful to see, and I mean, we normally disturb them, before you actually see them. So having one that is static like this, in which we can really observe, is such a treat. And so we're looking at this is a fairly small antlion in terms of antlion species. This species is only at about 8. Let's say, let me just look here. Total length, maybe about 3.5 centimeters. We have antlions that are nearly 8 centimeters in length, or even larger than that, up to 10 centimeters. You'll get your big individuals called painted grass, and as well as horned, and they get up to about 10 centimeters in length. So it's a fairly medium-sized antlion. It does superficially resemble that of a dragonfly, but dragonflies like to sit with their wings open and projected, and then they have very, very large eyes, which are connected in the central part. This insect's eyes are split and wings are closed, covering the body. So really beautiful to see. So looking at all these small things, it's when you really slow down and you look in and amongst all the grass and little parts of foliage that you get to see all these wonderful little insects. And what we are going to go to is Morgan's going to get us a view of another insect on the same grass, or the same... Oh, where is he now? Lovely, look at that. Absolutely lovely. Okay, so we can see it from the side, and we can see distinctive colors. You can see black, orange, black. Long antenna, 3 legs. That's definitely an insect. But you can see the head is very inconspicuous. You can't even see the head on this insect. And that is often a very, very important feature, is that the head is actually covered by a little plate that is situated above the thorax of this insect. We are looking at it from the side, but still you can see the length of the rest of the body. So that little orange patch, so let's start from the top. We've got black, that's the head that is covered under a little plate. That is there, just very distinctive orange patch, and then we go black, orange, black. So that black, orange, black piece is actually a part of the body referred to as the elytra, and this is often considerably expanded left and right of the animal's body. And this is a net-winged beetle. Doesn't look like your typical beetle, but it has the characteristics to be within this very diverse group of organisms, and a wonderful insect to see. The coloration, very distinctive, showing you that you need to be you need to be cautious around it. They do possess a toxin that is distasteful to any predator, and those colors, those aposematic colors, are definitely showing you that you need to be very careful. These insects are typically active throughout the daylight hours, and this is where you would find these insects, through the grassy areas of South Africa. And they feed on flowers. That's what they'll be feeding for, obviously having movable mouthparts, jaws. It's a characteristic for beetles, that's obviously utilized or used to feed on flowers. But really amazing to see. So just on one grass we have these two very different insects. Rosemary, there is a few over here, so I think myself and Morgan, what we're going to be doing is utilizing a patch of maybe 30 meters, because there's also some very beautiful plants and very colorful insects that we are going to show you in the short bit. But lovely to see the diversity of these tiny little organisms, and something that you don't have an opportunity just to stop and appreciate. But really beautiful scene.
It's no secret that nature can heal. Some of our Wild Earth viewers are finding solace in the outdoors close to their homes during lockdown.
This is how I keep myself busy during lockdown. Beautiful little jumping spot.
I love walking in the open spaces near my home. Provides a moment of peace in a crazy world.
This is my fire escape with some of the birds I get to see. That's what it's like in New York City during lockdown.
Being in nature helps me to cope with the challenges of life and helps me to be humble and grateful.
It's magical watching everything turn into a winter wonderland as the snow softly falls.
Been doing lots of walking, dog walking, outside at parks.
This is my Ridgeback Drake. Our little slice of paradise is a provincial park called Hopewell Ross.
Connecting with nature is critical to stay positive during these tough times. Wild Earth encourages you all to find time to escape to nature.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I come to you live every day here from Tswalu, Kalahari in South Africa. My favorite animal in the Kalahari has to be the aardvark. Its unique appearance, its ethology, and as well as ecology within this vast ecosystem is amazing, and something that I have been really lucky to experience on foot here at Tswalu.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth. Imagine having your own secluded African bush home where you and your friends can enjoy the ultimate safari experience. If you sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer, this could become a reality. Tumbeta House is located in the heart of Djuma Private Game Reserve, the home of Wild Earth. You could win a chance to stay at this intimate wilderness retreat, offering you the rare and highly sought-after privilege of your own home in the bush. The prize includes 3 nights for 6 people and includes daily game drives, a chance to see the Wild Earth camp, and have dinner with one of our guides. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the end of February 2021, and you could be heading to Djuma, the place that we call home. Available dates are limited, so terms and conditions apply.
Wow, and look at this. There is just so much insect activity now that it is just wonderful to sit and appreciate the diversity. And this is a beautiful rainbow shield bug, and these two are getting accommodated with one another in a fairly just getting accommodated with one another. That's obviously the deed being done there, the transfer of sperm, very, very important. But the colors on this lovely insect is just incredible. Hopefully they move around that we can actually see the colors. See a beautiful iridescent, hence the name rainbow shield bug. It does have the colors representing that of the rainbow somewhat. So we were looking at a beetle earlier, the net-winged beetle, and its mouth parts are designed to chew, whereas in bugs like this, they have a very specialized, elongated tube-like mouth that is used to pierce plants and animals. And this is why this group of insects is in its own family in comparison to beetles. The mouth parts are very important, tailored for a very specific food source or way of life, so to say. But this proboscis is held under the head, so the one at the bottom that's upside down, you can just see the antenna, and then if you look very closely, you're going to see this almost straight tube-like appendage, which would be the actual mouth of this insect. And a very, very beautiful an arrangement of insects you would find, or bugs, sorry, you would find in this family group. But really remarkable to see these bright, vibrant colors on such a tiny insect. Lovely to see. So, still on the same grass and still on the same individual, we're going to show you something very tiny. I'm not too sure who would have laid. Okay, we're going to send you off to Pinder. Hold on.
There was a small piglet that just came out of the burrow that the lions were digging at earlier, and the lioness ran and caught the piglet right in front of some of the rangers that are out on a training drive this morning. And the youngster that we've got in frame at the moment has got the piglet. Let's see, it might get up and try and run away from the rest of the lions as they get closer. It's a tiny, tiny little piglet that they just caught. Just keep your eyes on that youngster, might get up just now. I see all these other youngsters are a little bit nervous to go close to the other one because it's such a small thing for them all to feed on. I don't know if you can hear the lions vocalizing, all the youngsters rubbing up against their mothers because they also want something to eat. But a small piglet like that would just be enough for one. Still feeding there, and interesting that none of them are going closer. Maybe they know it's just going to be a fight. All the rubbing heads and everything. There's quite a bit of moaning coming from the youngsters. You can see how they're rubbing up against the females because they also want something to eat. Well, while you're saying that youngster better eat quickly, indeed, I can hear some growling and stuff happening now as the youngsters are going closer to the one that's got the piglet. Just sit and listen. Maybe you'll get to hear them. Fortunately, I can't off-road because it's been raining so much here. It'll just make a rut in the ground if we do drive towards them. We don't want to damage the habitat. A lot of low growling happening at the moment. Oh, there's the youngster with the piglet. getting away from all the rest. I can't believe we just witnessed that. So there were definitely some rustling and stuff in the warthog burrow there. Very sad to see a little piglet like this getting caught. But it is at least one or two of these young lions are going to get their belly filled a bit. Very sad for the piglet and maybe the mum that lost her piglet. You can see the youngsters playing quite a bit there with the carcass. Wonder if it's still moving around a bit. It's actually running with it now. I think it saw the other lions were coming closer, trying to get away from them. And just as soon as he's ran off, all the rest of the youngsters are coming to come and smell where he was lying down, while he's behind the thickets there. And look at all of them like going towards the one with the piglet. See, the youngsters are a little bit nervous to go close to the one that's got the piglet there. And as they all move off, I'm just waiting for the other vehicle to switch off, and then we'll see if we can drive and go and get a better view on that side as well. Just want one vehicle at a time to move around the lines while they're feeding. Matila, you're asking how big a warthog burrow is and if a lion would fit into it. No, I don't think so. The opening might be quite big, but generally the warthogs basically only fit in there, only just, and it would be way too big for a lion. But sometimes lions can try and dig them out. I think now that the other vehicle is switched off, and we still have a view of the one lioness there, but let's see if we can move our vehicle as well and see if we can get around to the other side there. Just going to go on the road here to our left-hand side. I think that obviously these lions are going to be moving around a lot now because this piglet is so small. The poor piglet's just being picked up and being carried all over the place. If I can make it a little bit easier on all of you. I know it's very sad for a little piglet to be caught like this, but being so small, it just gave out a little squeak, and it was very quick and death for it. If that makes you all feel better, because it was such a small piglet. I mean, this lion has probably just bit it once. It seems like the lions are going into some of the thickets now, and I think it's just this youngster trying to get away from the rest of the pride. You can see the other vehicle that's just here ahead of us, the other training vehicle, and they are crossing the road up ahead. See the last youngsters crossing, but remember there is one more lioness that's off to the right hand side. We'll see if she comes and crosses as well. Can hear some low growling starting now as all of them are catching up with the youngster that's got the piglet. You just sit and listen for a minute. Here comes the last lioness. I just hear some cameras clicking away as the light is so beautiful this morning for photos. Okay, as these lions are disappearing into the thickets, we'll see if we can get another view of them. But I think we'll stick around for now and send you over to Tswalu.
Well, while Devot gets a better view for you folks, let's just recap here very quickly. So looking at these bugs, Hemiptera, it's a very diverse group of insects, but categorized by having piercing and sucking mouth parts. And if you look at this very diverse group, there's around about, I think it was 3,000 described species within the region. And if you look at a very prominent bug that everybody will know, bed bugs. Bed bug will fall within this order, Hemiptera. But really remarkable to see these insects, especially in their bright colors, like these two over here. So, looking at these lovely, colorful insects, what originally caught our eye, Morgan's going to take it up here, what originally caught our eye was these tiny little objects over here. And I mean, they are small. That is my fingernail, my pinky nail. Got it? And look how small those eggs are. I'm really not sure who was responsible for laying these tiny objects, but regardless, you have to appreciate their minute size. And just like I had my fingernail there, you'd see that represented against my pinky nail, those are very, very tiny little eggs. And insects are very clever in where they put their eggs. If you take a look at grass is used, the underside of leaves are used, in between bark. And then even you get some water insects where the female will actually lay the eggs, attaching the eggs to the dorsal section of the male for safekeeping. So they have to be really clever and really smart in where they lay these very important little parcels. But how amazing, 3 different insects from 3 different family groups on one grass. When I'm talking about one grass, I'm talking about one plant, one individual plant itself. But that is on the blade of the grass going up. Really incredible. But very, very lucky when we can see the diversity at this scale for these tiny and often overlooked and underappreciated insects, because insects are of vital importance to the functioning of an ecosystem. So transporting disease, being vectors, being predators, being prey, you name it, pollinating, they are basically the workforce within this system itself. And without them, we'd be in a little bit of trouble. So appreciating them and obviously just being careful, like we've looked at, all these beautiful colors. Those colors, they are for specific reasons, but observing them from a distance, a safe distance, and really understanding them is such a beautiful thing. And something that we're going to look for a bit more here. Like I said, there is 1 or 2 other things on this dune that we will be taking a look at shortly. And hopefully it is as exciting as these 3 lovely groups of organisms here. Incredible. Oh, look at that. Lacewing in, the antlion in picture now.
And antlions, they have very distinctive flight patterns, very lethargic, very, very slow in comparison to their superficially resembled dragonflies. Didn't know they can grow that big. We get, there's species over here, like I mentioned earlier, that would be about 10 centimeters in total length. That is a monster of an antlion, and would have these striking markings on the wings. It's almost these mottled patches, and then having a very, very fluffy appearance on its body, so to say. But this species over here is fairly large, but very delicate in all sense. I mean, look at that structure and how transparent those wings are that we can see right through onto the abdomen. Truly remarkable. And we will take a look a little bit later at antlion or certain species and where they would spend their larval period. Obviously finding sandy environments and creating these beautiful conical pits. Very efficient way of accumulating what you need through that larval stage to emerge as an adult, just like this over here. And obviously those wings being very important functions, very important to the animal. Being able to fly, finding new food sources, finding mates, but also very importantly, is that evading predation.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a Wild Earth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Welcome to my car. This is Wendy, and she's my favorite. She would love to have your name engraved on her so you can be with her every single time she goes on a safari here in Djuma. If you become a Wild Earth Explorer, you will have the opportunity to buy an engraved tag which we will attach to her. We will make sure to send you a digital picture to show you exactly where you are sitting on her. You will have front row seat in every single sighting.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson, and I come to you live every day from Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy in South Africa. The wild animal I think is most underrated. I think buffaloes are the most underrated. They're so tenacious and ferocious, and also very, very protective of each other, which I find incredible. You know, sometimes people think of the big five, they just think of lions and leopards and other big animals, but I think buffaloes are pretty underrated.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for Wild Earth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on Wild Earth.
It's back, thank goodness. Our dragonfly is back. For a second there, it disappeared. They tend to do that though. I'm not actually sure of the species, but I would like to know. I've got my ID book here. But if any of you do know the bright red body, I don't know if it's a red vein species. I am just guessing here. But please, please let us know. #WildEarth. Dragonflies are everywhere right now. We're very lucky to see such a diverse range of them. And you can, if there's not a difference between male and female in terms of visual coloration, and you really can't see, they look exactly the same, you can just look at their body parts. They are different. The males have claspers, and claspers is male genitalia, but it's normally you would use that when describing cartilaginous animals. So, for example, your sharks and your rays that are made from cartilage underwater, they have claspers, and that's how you identify between male and female. It's not so easy in the water. You have to be proficient at diving or swimming, and you sort of have to get under the animal, but immediately when you get under the animal, you can see two big long claspers, and that's what identifies a male. Now, dragonflies are the same. So visually, if you can't tell the difference between male or female and you get a real close-up of the back of the body, you can normally see a pair of claspers, and that, of course, indicates the male. I love it when they just perch like this. I can see lots of barbet perchers around, but I don't actually know what species we're looking at. I know that some of you know your dragonflies better than I. There we go, that's a barbet percher. You see the body's yellow and black. It's definitely by far the most common species that I see around here, anyway. Not able to walk, they do perch. Percher is the perfect name for them, because you see the legs are all situated on the same part of the body, which is the thorax. We went through that yesterday. So if this individual that we're looking at tried to walk on the ground, it's not really going to be possible. It's not going to be able to support his body weight of the abdomen, which is of course slim but long, because all the legs are held in one place. Now Seb, I'd like to show an image, but I know, do you think we'll be able to find this dragonfly again? I thought this was fascinating. It's from my book. And up here, right at the top, this is a dragonfly. It's called a Julia skimmer, but that's by and by. And you can see that it's carrying parasitic mites. Would you look at that? It's not very pleasant. But, oops, sorry. But the reason I'm showing you this is a lot of, well, it's sort of a general consensus that it's only mammals that get parasites and ticks and mites, but it's not. This actually shows you right here that dragonflies, or at least damsels as well actually, Odonata, they're actually hosts to a huge range of parasitic mites, and especially water mites. They attach themselves onto the body, and it's normally during the sort of metamorphosis stage. And it weighs the animal down. Can you imagine carrying a whole load of mites? Not very pleasant, is it? But anyway, I just thought I'd show you that because it's fascinating. It's not just mammals that can get mites or ticks or any sort of parasites. It's all animals in the animal kingdom. And let's see if we can relocate this dragonfly. And if you really want to see something that's not too pleasant, fish. Just your ordinary reef fish, they can actually suffer from a parasitic isopod. And what happens is that once the isopod gets inside the fish's body, it eats its tongue and it replaces the tongue. So if you Google parasitic isopod fish, you'll see that when the fish opens its mouth, it no longer has a tongue. The isopod sits in the place where the tongue would sit. It's really not pleasant to look at, and eventually, of course, the fish cannot feed itself properly and it will die. So it's not just your mammals or, you know, your ungulates that have ticks and parasites. It's all sort of organisms. I didn't get that name, but we've got an answer, and it's a red-veined something. I thought it was a red-veined something. One more time. Oh, darter, red-veined darter. I think that's what the answer is. from Black Widow Spider. A spider's identifying a dragonfly. Isn't that great? I'm only joking. Thank you very much, Black Widow Spider. It is the red-veined darter. I'm looking at it in my ID book as we speak. Ooh, okay, James Richard, you're saying it's a red-veined dropwing. They are different species, I believe. Maybe we could have a look at it just quickly, Seb, sorry. They're both on the same page. So you can see that here, it's got red-veined darter, and underneath there's a red-veined dropwing. So they do appear to be different. But this image here shows you the red-veined dropwing. Isn't it gorgeous? It's absolutely stunning. Thank you both for that ID. I'm still working on my dragonflies, and this book is absolutely fantastic. If you're into dragonflies, that is. Okay, so we're going to continue bumbling. Hopefully we get a little bit lucky with something, and for now we're going to send you across to Mike in Pridelands.
Well, we're continuing with the birds back at Nyati Pan to see what developments there are. Tungsten's not here. We do have a flock of white-faced whistling ducks and the knob-billed duck that I mentioned the other day, which is not one that we see so often, especially not so relaxed like this. Definitely not here at Pridelands anyway. You see the knob-billed duck, it's a male. The big, huge bump on its bill. Is he digging for... Actually, there's a bit of sound interference. But knob-billed duck is looking for any seeds and vegetation to feed on. Anyway, hi everyone, my name is Mike Anderson. Behind the camera we've got Gert. You've joined us at Pridelands, where we're enjoying this lovely calm day. The sun is out, it's nice and bright, nice and cool. And the frogs are singing and the birds are playing in the water. In fact, we were watching the birds a moment ago. And they weren't just playing. Those white-faced whistling ducks were having a bit of a fight with each other. Oh, now we've got all three species there. We've got the white-faced whistling ducks, the knob-billed duck, and that lesser moorhen. Just in the background there, also foraging for any insects. Interesting that knob-billed duck is just here at this waterhole. It really does seem to be sticking around. We don't see them often, but what it's doing, it's really feeding with its head right down in the water. And there's the white-faced whistling ducks once again, having a bit of an argument. I think there's a breeding group here, and maybe a rival pair that's arrived to also take advantage of this really lovely waterhole. I don't like it very much. They seem to keep fighting. They love these water holes with what they call emergent vegetation. Oh, big fight. Big fight. Chase them away. Chase them away. So I suspect that there's a group here with at least one youngster, one which has a very dull face, and then maybe a couple of other adults, maybe another pair that's turned up, as I mentioned. So they're quite, I wouldn't say territorial. Their movements are not very well understood. They'll certainly be protective over their little patch of water. They can move huge distances in search of these kind of water holes. In fact, some ringed birds that have been found covering more than 1,000 kilometers in order to find the right places to breed and to find water. Well, the group of four of them that seems to be arguing, the ones in the water not worried at all, the knob-billed duck very confused by what's going on, quite happy just to feed. That awesome lesser moorhen. I can't believe how relaxed it is. We're very close to the water now. We've actually changed our position slightly from what it was before. And we're sitting right down at the water's edge. All of these birds completely ignoring us, which is fantastic. Oh, ninjas. We saw that they had their mouths open in a bit of a gape display, which is often what they do when birds show off the inside of their mouth. It's often a threat display. Showing off their razor sharp bills, and often with brightly coloured inside of their mouths as well, as a threat display. Oh, A lot of confusion. I love the calls of these white-faced whistling ducks. Very attractive whistling. Three-note whistle. Interesting how they're all gathered around that knob-billed duck. I wonder if they are trying to get any of the leftovers that the duck might leave behind in the water. See the knob-billed duck reaching high up and grabbing the grass stems and then bringing them to the water and then pulling all the seeds off the ends of those grass stems. Watch this. It's going to reach up, bring a grass stem down into the water and pull all the seeds off in the water. Perhaps the water helps those seeds to slide down a bit easier. Sarah, I agree, it does sound like those squeaky toys that you use in the bath when you were a kid. And, you know, I wonder if that's maybe quite common of a lot of ducks. Maybe that's why they make those squeaky toys. It is a very attractive call. I like it very much. Much better than the Egyptian goose's call, which is just that raucous, nasal honking. It's not so attractive. I'm actually not even sure what a knob-billed duck sounds like. I wonder if it also has a whistled call. Well, whilst these ducks frolic in the water, we'll send you over to Tswalu with a few creepy things.
Well, onto some more tiny insects. We've got a small, tiny little grasshopper here sitting very beautifully on a stem, a little plant, and just to appreciate the coloration as well as the beauty of this insect is very, very important. So on this, here we go. Oh, it's going down now. So there's another species of bug on this little shrub that we're trying to get a view of. And, oh, there we go. Look at this. What is that? There we go. There's more lacewing eggs. Got it. Let me just hold this over here. Got it. Yep. All right. So it shows you when you slow down and you really take your time, nature just starts revealing everything. And we initially got stuck into this bush because there is another species of bug here called stink bug, which somewhat resemble that of a shield bug, but their body shape slightly varies. And now while I was looking for the stink bug, these tiny little things here just above my finger, that's my index finger there, that tiny little item on a stalk, that is a lacewing egg that has been deposited on this plant called acrotome. A very prominent plant on Tswalu and very distinctive, that there's nothing else here that somewhat resembles this very unique looking species. But look how tiny that egg is. And that you can see a very distinctive stalk coming off from this elongated leaf, and that's obviously to keep it safe. We saw lacewing egg the other day on that velvet raisin bush, but lovely to see. There's actually a few of them here now that I look. I can see. Oh, here's a lacewing. Here's the lacewing here. I'm just going to turn it. Morgan, do you see where the shield bugs are here? Let me just turn this guy here. Just hold on. There, it's coming to the top. You see it? So on the other side there, it's green. Got it. Beautiful. There's a lacewing, folks. More than likely the species responsible for laying these beautiful, very unique little eggs. You can see the antennae are straight down like the antlion that we were observing a couple of minutes ago that had those bulbous ends. You can see those antennae are very thin and very long.
And how those eggs would have been deposited is via the abdomen. So she would have pushed the abdomen against the blade of, against the leaf blade. It would have been somewhat sticky in the beginning. She would have then raised the abdomen very quickly, and this glue-like substance would harden within a couple of seconds, and then she would deposit the egg right on top of that little stalk. Really nice to see, and look how well camouflaged that insect is within the background of this plant. Is it okay? Fantastic. I'm just going to let it go here. I don't want to disturb her. Just wanted you folks to take a good look there. But she is well hidden within this vegetation. And then let's leave that just as we found it. So this is Acrotome. You can see over here, look how unique this is over here in front of my finger. You can see quite an array of insects here. There's an elegant grasshopper, shield bug, and then this unique flower over here. You can see individual little florets coming out of these tubes, and then the very elongated leaves are very distinctive. Tim, that is the thing about being out here, and I think anywhere in the world. It is there. It just takes the effort in order to stop and look very slowly. And you would find diversity to a very, very high degree. So a beautiful view of this elegant grasshopper, and then also the rainbow shield bug. I can't believe we found that lacewing. But yes, the diversity is unbelievable within a little patch. I mean, we have been looking at this patch, myself and Morgan, for about the past 20 minutes. And every time I look away and I look back, I tend to find something else that I never saw before. And it is really wonderful. It just makes me almost giggly. Wow. To see the diversity like this. And it really excites me because it keeps me stimulated to a very, very high degree. But yeah, the diversity is unbelievable. Just trying to narrow down here. But we're going to carry on scratching around in this little shrubbery bush. But let's send you over to Pinda with some giraffe.
We came towards some open areas. We've lost visual of those lions we had earlier with their piglet, and we came to some open areas so that's not too far away to see if we can find those 5 subadult cheetahs that have been hanging around in the area. And I think they might have moved because of the lions that's close by, and we came across this female giraffe by herself, just moving from thicket to thicket and feeding. Let's see if she goes to that bush there, or is she going to try and get out of the sun a bit. Yeah. Nice shaded spot for her to keep on feeding. The sun has come out, and all of a sudden, with the clouds burning away, it's already 34 degrees here, so 34 degrees Celsius, so nice and hot. That's about 80 or so degrees Fahrenheit. Also like 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so nice and hot. There you can see she's actually feeding on a smaller tree there. That's growing next to a big milkwood. Just by looking quickly with binoculars, maybe looks like it might be a saffron of some kind. Leaves are quite small. Interesting that she's by herself. As we approached, she was actually a little bit nervous of the vehicle, so I wonder if she's lost her herd, or they may be just in the distance, and she wasn't too happy with our presence, maybe feeling a bit more uncomfortable that she doesn't have any other giraffe around her. But she settled down. You can see she's feeding in the shade there. Jerome, you're asking if a giraffe can really lose their herd. When I say lose, probably means just started feeding away from them or so. You know, they don't really lose their herds. It's that's why I'm saying there might be some other giraffe just in the distance, not too far away. But I guess it happens that they get into a thicket and they start feeding, and the other giraffes slowly but surely move away, and then they don't realize it. But see where she's going. She's like slowly walking. She's been slowly but surely moving in that direction towards where the tree is. So I wonder if the rest of the giraffes are maybe just in the thickets on the other side. Look at those lips just picking up or picking off all the leaves there. Actually see quite a bit of leaves falling from the tree as she's feeding. Lisa, you're asking if I've ever witnessed a giraffe being born. I indeed have been very lucky to see it, but I wasn't there from the start. One of the other rangers found a giraffe busy giving birth, and because it takes quite a while for them to give birth, and we went and sat there and witnessed the whole thing. The other ranger found the giraffe by herself, with the legs of the tiny little giraffe coming out, and then we all just raced and came and had a look. Very, very, very cool thing to see. Just by looking at this female here, she seems like she's quite old. Just looking at her condition and the coloration and the condition of her hair and so on. But looking at her stomach, it doesn't seem like it's too swollen or hanging too low. And I looked at her teeth earlier and it doesn't look like that swollen either. So she doesn't have any milk or so. So if she does have a calf, it might be a little bit old or so there. She's had enough of that tree. I wonder if the tree is starting to produce a bit of tannins or so. But I think we're going to leave this giraffe and see if we can carry on looking for those cheetahs while she's feeding her. And we'll send you over to Lauren.
Bird of prey, one of my favorites. I have the Wahlbergs here. Look at that tuft of hair. Or feathers, should I say, at the back. That's what gives away the Wahlbergs. Now, we're very close to Wahlberg's Nest Road, which means there's a high possibility that this one could be the female. But it's difficult to say. We have two monogamous pairs that we know very, very well, and they're complete opposites. On one pair, the pale morph is the female, and on the other pair, the dark morph is the female. But of course, they're not on the nest right now, so it's a little bit trickier to tell. But isn't it gorgeous? Not the biggest of all eagles, of all true eagles, at least. But they're absolutely up there with my favorites. Really, really monogamous, and what I mean by that is that many birds are not just socially monogamous, but they mate for they form a pair bond for a long, long time. But only for the breeding season. Once it's over, they separate. I've had enough of you. We're going to separate. I'll see you next year. We'll arrive back in Djuma and then we'll mate. And the fact that they reuse the same nest time and time again, they maintain it, I think it's just fantastic. They don't waste energy in building a new nest every single breeding season. That would be pointless. They create a nest which is so robust, with sort of great structural integrity, that every time they come back, they just need to repair minor bits, reinforce it, make it look nice and shiny, and they'll reuse it. And unfortunately, they're not named after Mark Wahlberg. Oh, did that just land on his back?
On the branch in front.
Oh, sorry, I can barely see my monitor. But yes, not named after Mark Wahlberg, the famous actor, but indeed after a Swedish naturalist, Johan August Wahlberg. Just in case anyone was confused about that. I get sent photos a lot. Lauren, can you help me ID this raptor? I love raptors, and absolutely. But you really do need a good photo that shows the key identification features. Are there feathers on the legs, yes or no? What size is a raptor? Where did you see the raptor? Distribution is very, very important. Key features like eye color. Well done, Seb. Beak. Does the gape extend past the eye? What's the chest look like? So lots of key features are really, really important when you're trying to identify a raptor. You need a good photo and you need to be able to pick out these features because a lot of them are very similar. I love it when they so are riding the thermos. You can see all those primary flight feathers just sticking out on the edge of the wing. Not all feathers are equal. They're not all the same. They don't all serve the same purpose. It would be rather strange if they did. Disappeared. Sarah, but it's too difficult. Oh, how wonderful. Okay, we're going to head to the dam, spend a little bit of time here, see what we can see. And you guys are going to go across to the ball.
Welcome back to Bufusuk, everybody, where we have managed to find, once again, a very nice, peaceful spot here at a small watering hole called Rubbing Post Dam, where we've often had any little lesser moor hens hiding around, but it is that time of day when it's getting rather warm and you'd expect certain animals to come and drink. And so we have just parked here in the shade hoping to see something maybe coming down, and we might just switch off and be quiet for a moment, allow you to just enjoy a nice peaceful moment. It's a perfect opportunity to grab a cup of coffee, sit in quiet, just listen to the sounds of nature.
is a lovely, peaceful setting. It is not just in the afternoon, but this time of morning is also a very nice time to just settle down. As the day starts to really warm up, many of your frightened antelope species, the ones that get hunted, to start making their way down to water. It's a good time for buffalo as well to come and drink. And some cats that have maybe missed an opportunity to hunt might materialize out of the thickets when it is as wet as it is at the moment and as difficult to track as it is at the moment sometimes. Just spending a bit of time in silence at a watering hole will bring forward many different sounds and sights. You might have heard the Llewellyn's cuckoo in the beginning. Now, turtle dove, there was a rattling testicular calling. If you didn't hear the Llewellyn's cuckoo, I'll play it for you. Always nice to be reminded of some of the calls that we hear. Have a little listen. Llewellyn's cuckoo, very easy to remember because it's got lines on the chest for Llewellyn's lines, and those lines on the white chest help them to look a little bit like an arrow-marked babbler, which is indeed the bird that they choose for being a brood parasite.
This is Rusty. He's my favorite vehicle and we've been through all the good times here in the bush. Now, if you feel a connection to Djuma Game Reserve like I do, then we have a fantastic opportunity for you. You can have your name engraved on a brushed metal plaque just like this one, and we will attach it to Rusty so you can always be with us on safari in spirit. We will even send you a digital photograph once your plaque is mounted on Rusty. Spaces are limited, so grab your spot now.
What fascinates me most about the animal circle of life is the intricacies between the large and the very, very small. I mean, it's very easy to go out there and find the large. Once you found the large, the cascading effect down to the small absolutely fascinates me. Alertness and situation awareness is by far the number one aspect for protecting ourselves out on safari.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth. It's no secret that nature can heal. Some of our Wild Earth viewers are finding solace in the outdoors close to their homes during lockdown.
This is how I keep myself busy during lockdown. Beautiful little jumping spot.
I love walking in the open spaces near my home. Provides a moment of peace in a crazy world.
This is my fire escape with some of the birds I get to see. That's what it's like in New York City during lockdown.
Being in nature helps me to cope with the challenges of life and helps me to be humble and grateful.
It's magical watching everything turn into a winter wonderland as the snow softly falls.
Been doing lots of walking, dog walking, outside at parks.
This is my Ridgeback Drake. Our little slice of paradise is a provincial park called Hopewell Ross.
Connecting with nature is critical to stay positive during these tough times. Wild Earth encourages you all to find time to escape to nature.
There is clearly something in the vicinity around you that's drawn their attention. Yes, that meerkat in the tree is just the coolest of cool meerkats. But watch how he battles when he comes down. That would be like me climbing a tree, just better.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
All right, welcome back. And nature is being very accommodating. We have found another one. Oh, okay. We have found another lacewing on the underside of this eland's bean. You can see from the leaf structure the elongated stems and then the little leaflets lining that stem. That is an eland's bean leaf. But this little lacewing has found the perfect spot to reside underneath this structure. So I've been looking and I think it is part of the green lacewing group, or which they also refer to as the golden eyes. I don't know if the light is correct, but you can see the eyes are very distinctive color. They actually do have a golden appearance to them, hence the common name golden eyes. But the body color can vary. It's mainly green, light green, just like you're seeing in picture now, but then it can also be a form of yellow and even be marked with red at times. But a very, very beautiful insect, and also now for us to have linked what we saw the other day with those beautiful eggs put on that mucus stalk, now actually physically seeing the insect that was responsible for planting that lovely, lovely egg. So these species between 15 and about 50 millimeters in length, and they mainly feed on aphids, another very, very complex and very strange group of insects that we will definitely take a look at. And these beautiful insects have also been used as a biological control through certain programs to obviously keep aphids, that would be the main thing, in check. But lovely to see this insect, and also just on how lucky we are that it is still sitting there and we can appreciate it, because we can speak about it and we can look at pictures, but looking at it like this, folks, is just magical. So what a treat. And we haven't moved. Morgan made the comment as well. He cannot believe how many little things are in and around here at the moment. The northern black coral not happy about our presence, giving his typical ruckus call, but very nice to see. See the straight antenna. This one's got fairly long antenna. You can see it goes right past the main part of that stem. As in, by my knowledge, they should have a fairly short-ish antenna. There is one that has long antenna, but that doesn't occur in this region, the speckled forest lacewing. But I think this is the green lacewing. I could be mistaken. There might be also species within this group that are somewhat related or somewhat similar, but nevertheless, I'm sure I've got the family correct. But lovely to see. And I just want Morgan's just going to give us a lovely view of this dominant and ground cover that we have at the moment. And just think about this little patch. It's a patch of maybe 2 meters by 2 meters. And Morgan's just going to give us a view now. We are sitting on the ground, flat on our bums, and you're going to get a level view of what we are looking at. And just look how dominant this growth is. So think about how much life is scurrying around in and between this undergrowth. What is this here? Yeah, on this thunderbolt, it's a fly. Look at this fly. Oh, please land, please land, please land. Oh, he's going to land on my finger. We're talking about you. Lovely, look at that. Got it. I think it's part of the hoverfly family. You can see it's very strong flight pattern. If you look very closely, look at its feeding appendage, almost like a flattened disc attached to a tube, used for sucking up liquids. Lovely. Very bulbous, very, very large eyes, stripy abdomen, black and white. So we've got the general gist of what we need to ID it. Very short antenna. You can see the tiny little projections there. You okay there? Look how it's just hovering. Look how still this fly hovers. So some flies actually compete with one another by holding their position in the air and trying to attract a mate by their position or holding of their position. Look at that, my word. How fast those wings are beating is unreal. Let's see if you'll come back here. Come to me. Haha. Unbelievable. So what he's doing with that mouth part is basically sucking up liquids and moisture. They don't bite. These aren't part of the biting group. And that tube is just used to... Oh, oopsie. It's used to draw up fluids. They also feed in a very unique manner, flies. How fantastic. All right. But yes, just looking at this dominant cover now, there is just life crawling through this stuff. And it is such a treat to be in and amongst all of this stuff right now, especially with you on board. And it creates this very, very uniform carpet along the ground. And obviously where insects can find a lot of shelter. Amazing camera work, Morgan! Nice one. Oh, what is this now? There's just so much stuff. Okay. Something else. Don't know what it is. Gonna have to look. Look at that. See, I just looked down next to my shoe and I see something else. Very distinctive, long antenna. Take it down a bit. It still looks like it's in its younger stages of development. It might be part of the longhorn family. Just looking at those very extensive projections on top of the head antenna. Hence the name longhorns. They do have very, very extended antenna. But definitely looks like a young individual, if I'm not mistaken. But if you look very close, you can see distinctive segments. Antenna can be very useful when it comes to IDing these lovely creepy crawlies, and also the structure of those antennae are very useful tools. So, very defined segments there. So I'll have to take a look and see who this is. But lovely, look how tiny that thing is. So everywhere you look, there's just things moving around us at the moment. Okay, I'm going to let this little guy go quickly. Let's set you off over here, buddy, where I found you. Thank you. And always just to make sure that you put things back to where they were, or just not play with them at all. Yeah, obviously should be left alone. But let's send you off to Pinder for a short bit.
We were searching for these cheetahs all over this morning after the lions went into the area, and then one of our habitat monitors found them literally 50 or so meters away from one of the rooms at Mountain Lodge, in a little clearing where they are sleeping. And there was just no visual from the road, and luckily they came out just a little bit as the sun came out. But most of them have moved into the thicket to the left-hand side. There's only one that's lying out in the open, but it was yawning earlier, and probably will move into the shade as well. There's another youngster just here off to the right that's lying in the shade a little bit. See the youngster in the open just starting to groom a little bit, and there's quite a bit of a yawn, so I think it's not too long then it's also going to get up, oxygenating its muscles and its brain before it starts to get up. I can imagine there must be some kind of moisture on their legs from the grass. Tracy, you're asking how old these cheetahs are. They are, I think, around about 10 months, getting to about a year, somewhere around there. This youngster is licking his lips, or her lips, wanting to yawn even more. Quickly have a look through the binoculars, just look below her tail there. Yep, indeed looks like a female. Oh, lying down a bit with her head. The sun's just gone behind some clouds, but coming out now and baking them. These, you're saying they're in such good condition. Yeah, these 5 youngsters have miraculously being able to catch some animals and keep going, and the fact that there's 5 of them together, it's apparent that they have been able to take down some impala lambs. Luckily it's in the lambing season. Every now and then they take down a bigger impala as well, it seems. We just find them with the impalas. And you can see this one's a bit skinny that's lying in the open there. You can see the hip bone sticking out a little bit or so. So they are lean animals in general, but it looks like they haven't eaten something in for at least like 2 days or so, I would say. Probably why they're coming to these little open clearings, especially around the lodge. All the short vegetation that's growing here, often a lot of impala coming through. So if they sleep in a thicket in the shade today, any chance there might be some animals that comes past the area, and then we might find them a little bit later, maybe today, on something. You never know. Our youngsters falling asleep there in the sun. Anna Marie, you're saying your day is made by seeing these cheetahs. I'm so happy to hear that, and we were quite worried about these 5 youngsters because they are really not far away from where we saw the lions. Luckily, I think they have got quite a bit of experience with lions. Unfortunate that they obviously got orphaned, but they luckily moved away to this clearing, and it seems like the lions are not really interested in coming in this direction, but we'll keep an eye on them. And luckily, with them being so close to the lodge, easy for us rangers to just come and have a look at them. And our habitat monitor that found them this morning, he's going to have his hands full keeping an eye on them if they do go off to the left-hand side, because it's such a dense area, but I reckon they'll maybe stick around here. Youngsters starting to groom again as the sun came out behind some clouds, getting nice and hot. See how it's turning its paw almost upside down. Jerome, you're asking if these cheetahs will stay together forever, so there is some males and some females between these 5 individuals, and the males will stick together their whole lives if nothing happens to them, and they'll form a coalition and hold territories hopefully together and share meals, and gives them a better chance of fighting for females and keeping territories, whereas the females will move away from the males and go off by themselves and become solitary and live solitary lives. And the only time you'll ever see other cheetahs with these females is if they have cubs or when the males are looking to mate with them. Megan, you're saying that you feel relieved. Indeed, it is so nice to see them make it through every single night, counting the days for them to grow up and be even more stable and surviving. With youngsters like this, you never know if they'll be able to catch something or if lions will be able to catch them or anything like that. So that's why we're looking for them every single morning, just hoping that they are still fine and they made it through the night when the other predators are moving around so much and are way more active. for now, while these youngsters are settling down, we're gonna keep an eye on them and see what they get up to, and then we'll send you over to Lauren. Juma.
We've actually been sitting at Gowrie Dam trying to show you a little waterfall. There's actually a little waterfall because I know that the dam cam you can only see sort of in a northerly direction, really. You don't see the overflow. However, we've came across this little Speaks hinged tortoise. Chelonian, one of my favourite groups of animals. Completely underestimated. They really are remarkable in their sort of lifestyle, but it appears we've lost it. I wonder if we can get you another view. Bear with me. Do you think you can just get it there, Seb? It's remarkable how camouflaged they are, especially when they just disappear into the vegetation. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get this for you, but let's try. I'll try and show you the overflow in the afternoon. It's really remarkable how much Gowrie Dam is overflowing. Really, it's flowing all the way into the Mulwati. I don't think we're going to get you another view. Oh well, Mr. Tortoise. You keep in the shade. Shall we bumble around quarantine?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find anything exciting around here on quarantine. It's getting really, really hot. Seb and I were saying we don't quite know how to handle the sunshine anymore. It's been so long. Apparently, according to my weatherman behind me on the vehicle, tomorrow's weather is dire. Oh, so we need to make the most of the sunshine today. It would be good if some of the roads dried up a little bit. Although the water has been such a blessing, some of the roads are very, very waterlogged, and you don't want them to start eroding and deteriorating in condition. Stan the man, possibly Stan. To be honest, I've not seen much. I've only been back 3 days, and this is the first day that really we've been able to explore. Our traverse is very limited at the moment. I'm not really able to go very far, I'm afraid. So I can't say I have, but normally you do. Normally after the rains, the tortoises come out. Of course, when it gets too hot, just like us, they will seek shade, but they are reptiles, so naturally they need to power up. Baboons. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. There's a nice patch of shade here, Seb. Baboons running amok. No, we're not going to be able to get them from here. Hold on. You get them from here, Seb? Yeah. Aha, we see you all. I mean, those big males can get extremely big. Oh. Oh my goodness, we have some baboon mating happening. Wow, I think that's the first time I've had that on camera. Seb, why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing, I'm smiling. Happy for him.
You're happy for him. That's... Oh, standing up on your hind legs. Wow. I did not expect that. Baboons are notorious for being extremely promiscuous. Let's try and see if we can catch up with them. That must have been one of the dominant males. They've got a really unique social structure where it's not just one dominant male, there's a band of dominant males. So they work together to keep the troop their own, to keep the females to mate. Wow. But sometimes baboons will just run from the car, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to catch up with them, but let's try. There you go, Seb. Let's see if we can get anything from here. And these baboons, the Chacma baboons, are big. But when we went to Ethiopia, they have olive baboons there. Wow, they're even bigger. Very large animals. Have you ever seen the mandrills that you will find in sort of Nigeria? They are very, very close to extinction, which is really sad. But if you Google the mandrills, they are huge. They're almost the size of a human. They're stunning. The coloration, the violets, the pinks, the purple, absolutely beautiful, but they're very close to extinction, I'm afraid. Sally, no, I haven't had a dangerous encounter with baboons, I'm afraid. They can break into lodges and properties, and that's a real danger due to their size, due to their incredibly sharp canines. And of course, if you walk into a room where there are baboons, that's worrying, because any animal that feels trapped with no escape route will panic. Now, you didn't know they were there, so you've entered into the room, but it will cause mass panic and aggression. But I personally have not experienced that. I have a lot of encounters. We could spend all afternoon actually talking about my encounters with the monkeys, the vervet monkeys here, my goodness. But the baboons, not so much. And they are very strict here on baboons. We do keep a really, really good look of the troops. They're not really territorial, so they come and go. But it's important that they never break into lodges or sort of areas where humans are. Not only would they cause a lot of damage to your property, but they could kill you. I mean, they're wonderful animals, but they really could kill, so you've got to be careful. The vervet monkeys absolutely could hurt you, but the baboons are a lot larger and a lot more powerful. Sorry, Seb, I had my foot on the brake. I always get in trouble from the cameraman when I do that. But I've never personally experienced anything with baboons. They're absolutely gorgeous animals, just extremely powerful. They're off on a mission somewhere. I have no idea where, but off they go down Philemon's Dip. We'll try and see if we can keep up with them, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to. Living around human areas is perfect. They can steal, they can pick up food. Most animals, I mean, some species for it, but most animals will. Apparently our signal is getting a little bit tricky, so we're just going to stop the car here. We're going to lose the baboons. Off they go, running up Philemon's Dip. You can see their tracks everywhere. Seb can give you a view. The ground's still not great for looking at tracks. Okay, so we're going to head back to where we get signal, and you guys are going to go across to Phinda.
The youngster that was lying in the sun there has moved off into the thicket to the left-hand side. But now we've got this young male that's lying in the shade, and he's actually turning his face towards us. giving us a very beautiful view of him. Can hear the cicadas starting to make their racket. A few birds calling in the background and some crickets as well as the sun bakes. And it's heating up quite a bit. You can see the fluffy bit there behind his head, showing us that he's quite young. And I'm sure you know that cheetahs have the long white fur on their backs when they're born. And this youngster, you can see just the remnants of that long fur on his neck there, on the back of his neck. Already quite aware of what's going on around him, keeping his eyes open and just scanning around. Few insects biting him on his ears there. You can just see him flicking his ears every now and then, and that tail also just coming around every now and then to chase some biting insects off. Might hear another vehicle just coming to join us in the sighting here, as we are right next to the lodge, so people are heading back before it gets too hot for the morning, coming to see if they can get a view of these cheetahs as well. Siri saying such a handsome boy. Yes, this cheetah is very, very cute with and got such a clean face, no scars on its face yet, but just because it's so young, hasn't gotten into any fights or anything like that. I love that bit of fluff around the head and the face. Seen something. Something's caught his eye there. There's definitely some movement that's caught his eye. You can see how he's bobbing his head around. Elizabeth, you're asking if cheetah travel during the night or do they sleep? It's different in different areas, I think, Elizabeth. Good question though. In places like the Masai Mara, also where there's massive open areas with very short grass, the cheetahs are actually well known to hunt at night and even move around at night because they can see so far around them. Yeah, in Phinna, the cheetahs generally move around early in the mornings or late in the afternoons, but during the evenings they kind of hunker down and try and stay in a certain area just because it is so dense, to try and avoid bumping into other predators and scavengers. These cheetahs have definitely seen something. I'm not too sure what it is just yet. I haven't seen what they're seeing. Their eyesight is so good. See the black behind the ears where this cheetah's listening to. Remember that pride of lions that caught the piglet is just over the hill where this cheetah's looking to earlier. I wonder if it maybe heard the lions in the distance. Looking straight towards us now. The sun's just gone in behind the clouds and a cool breeze coming over. Grootsefriek is saying gorgeous fluffy cheetahs. Indeed, you can see that fluff behind the neck, even actually extending down onto the shoulders as well. And you'll see this young male has a collar on his neck there, and that's just so that we can keep an eye on these youngsters and see how they're doing, because they've been orphaned and it's such a special and interesting situation. But for now, I think we're going to stick around and see what these cheetahs get up to. Maybe we'll see what they are listening to.
How insane is that animal?
This is out of this world. Fantastic. Good, Mama.
Wow, what a way to start off.
Just such an incredible privilege to be out here. It just keeps on delivering.
There you go, there you go. Heart is pumping right now.
3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Look at this, everybody. We've got a live kill.
The cock's holding the tail. It's holding tight. Lucky wildebeest.
There's nowhere to go. This is a disaster in the making.
This is the first leucistic zebra I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, here comes a lion. Run, little guy. Go on.
Something that I have never seen before in my entire life that you are now watching live.
My heart is in my mouth, everybody.
Look at this. It's gonna make it. It's going, it's going.
This is just too magical. Hi, little guys. That's great, isn't it?
Has it just pretended to be dead? That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Look at that. Scuba Steve has got a friend.
You've got a friend in me.
It couldn't be a better morning. This is just too special.
Oh my goodness, we've got a turtle.
How epic is the fact that we're coming to you live from the Chobe River? It's the most incredible feeling to be here. This is live and we're in Rwanda. This is a very, very different adventure, charged with emotion.
Look at that little zebra about to be born. There's the head. Oh, you clever mare. Well done.
I did not think I would ever face my fears like this.
So after a whole morning of searching, and we found more tracks of other lions, but unfortunately they've gone into an area that's so dense we weren't able to follow the tracks anymore. We came back to the Pride on our way to the camp, and they're still in the same area we left them this morning. Now, their heads were up earlier on. One of the other females, the younger one, is lying off just further on this side from where they are. So you'll see right now, like down this way. And she's just keeping her head up. Keeping her head up and constantly looking this way because she probably doesn't want to feel that they're going to leave her behind. And what would be nice is, like, if the rest of the Pride decides to join up, maybe she will then go with the rest of the Pride instead of hanging around with these ones here. You can see the way she's panting as well. It is quite warm at the moment. I think today's going to be quite a warm day because the sky is open. It won't be long. This one female that I'm looking at now, just off to our left, you'll see she's actually lying down in the sun now. Like a portion of her body, especially the head and the shoulders, are in the sun. So right here, the one in front of us. So give it maybe 3-4 minutes, and I'm sure she's going to get up and start moving into the shade. Because as we're sitting here, I can feel the sun on the side of my cheek, and it is warming up quite a bit. Let's have a look. Maybe we can play with all the viewers. We can play a little bit of a guessing game and say, all right, how long before she's going to get up? Is it going to be 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, 3 minutes? So I think maybe 4 minutes. So probably just before we end our morning drive is when she's going to get up and start moving into the shade. But of course, there's always a lot of room to prove me wrong here. Kate, it all depends on if there's any tracks in the area or if there's any sightings. I mean, if we drive towards the river and there's, of course, elephants or a lot of other animals around, we might not have to travel that far. But the thing about Ngala is there's quite a few spots on it where, unfortunately, due to it being in the African bush, there's no signal for us. And so because of that, we only explore certain areas of Ngala, and probably in a day we'll travel anywhere from 10 kilometers all the way to 20 in a day. Might be more, might be less. We've had it before where we've done a drive where we haven't even left or driven further than a kilometer from camp and spent around about 3 hours in the area and then drove back. But still patiently waiting. Like, I mean, we are looking at the lions that's right over here, and we're also looking at that female there. And the question is, I wonder what's going to happen over the next little while. Is it going to be that female is going to come back and eventually they'll accept her back into the pride? Or allow them just to be closer? I mean, she is part of the pride, but just allow her to be closer to them. Or would she eventually, if the bigger or the other members of the pride, if they come and join up again, is she probably then going to follow them? Now, she's not in a bad condition, so probably whenever they make a kill, she will be feeding. But I think it's afterwards when they start moving, we can see they're slowly starting to push her out. She's just gotten up now and she's looking this way, so she's just making sure. Are they still there? Now she can see the one's foot is probably in the air, and now probably move into a bit more shade. Now that's what's going to happen to this lioness that we saw earlier on that's in the sun as well. She's probably going to move into some deeper shades soon. But it's been a beautiful morning. We've been able to see these lions. We've been able to explore quite a bit of the reserve, been into some of the rivers. And hopefully let's see what we can find on our other drives, especially this afternoon.